Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Carola. I'm the CEO of StealthEX, and today we're joined by Alex. Hi, Alex.
Hey, guys
And today we'll talk
and
about
girls.
Verge, and to all the boys and girls out there, talk about the project, how it's developing, what the plans are, and many more things. And I would love Alex to make a little bit of introduction of himself and what he does and some general facts so we can know each other better.
All right, so I'm Alex. You probably all know me as XVG Ninja. It says so on my shirt right here. Here you go. What I do, yes, this is a ramen t-shirt underneath because I rep ramen on my free time. What I do for Verge is a bunch of stuff. That's why I got the name XVG Ninja. Back in the days when I was just a community member, I just kind of like just followed around on all the different social media, what the teams were saying, so that there was one point of information so I could distribute the information easier. Because, well, back in 2017, 2018, the team was a bit smaller and there's less people aware of what was going on. So it was a lot harder to send out communication. But yeah, the community basically was listening to XVG well on Twitter, mainly because he was doing Twitter lives and talking in his pajamas. So I basically got involved and I was like, yeah, I don't want to be, I like Peter. I've met him twice at both Verge meetups. He's a nice kid, but I didn't want that to be the face of Verge, and I didn't want to have just random people speaking up. I mean, it is a community project, so it's great when people know what's going on and they spread the information. That's exactly what we want Verge to be. But at the time, I think there needed a little bit more focus on how to distribute the information and how to get people to find what's going on. There's a lot of people saying that Verge is a fork of Dogecoin. This was something that I still see sometimes on Twitter, and it's kind of sad because the old repo for Dogecoin Dark is still existing, and you can actually find the code for Dogecoin, and it's a fork of NovaCoin and Peercoin. Like, Dogecoin Dark was not a fork of Dogecoin. It was called Dogecoin Dark, as Justin said in multiple interviews, because he wanted to like give a kind of like Dark was for privacy, and Dogecoin was more of a like, yeah, it's a fun community and we want the Verge community to be fun. And when I joined Verge, that's basically what we were on Telegram. There's very often gift parties, and you would walk in there or at least log in there and just have a million gifts. So that we had a pretty fun community back then. It's gotten more mature now. I mean, Verge is over since 2014, so it's over 6 years old. So yeah, like the community got a bit more mature, but we still have some pretty awesome gifts. Throughout the years, we've seen a lot of gifts. And yeah, so what I did was I kind of bridged the various communities. So Facebook, Twitter, Telegram. We've basically made sure that there's people from the core team on different social media platforms so that it's easier when there's news, we can actually like push it through. So we've been active on Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, so I think even Quora. We've been trying to get active on LinkedIn now because it is a community project. So we need people to be active, not just on Twitter resharing, but we need people to help out in terms of programming on GitHub. In terms of outreach, like most people just ask, well, how do I reach out to people? I'm like, well, download the wallet and show people how it works. Send them one XVG and be like, hey, it's really easy. I can't show you on my phone how easy it is because I don't have a webcam on this computer. So my phone is attached to the screen and acts as a webcam. So yeah, that's what I do. I kind of coordinate stuff. Michael is our community manager, but like I said, it's a community project. So anybody that's doing the job can do the job. So I go from marketing, which is what I studied. I moved to Germany to study international business management, and I specialize in marketing and events/project management to help Verge. Basically, I don't know what to specialize in. I used to work for a bank before studying this, and yeah, I used my studies to have a reason to get a visa to stay in Germany. And basically I specialized on stuff that would help out Verge, because honestly everything interests me. So I now give advice on marketing, on techniques to reach out to people, and yeah, that's mainly what I do.
So there's a lot of stuff you're doing for Verge. You even sacrifice your own phone to be kind of a camera. But how would you describe Verge as such for all the people who have not heard about it, like even once? What is the main point? What's the most basic explanation of what Verge actually is?
So Verge is a digital currency. That's what we are. So if Satoshi wanted to make a like online currency that was to be used every day, that was free of government control, that's what he made Bitcoin for. But Bitcoin through the years became a storage of wealth and is now basically the equivalent to electronic gold, which actually e-gold was a like predecessor to Bitcoin. But Bitcoin became e-gold basically, and now people are putting their money in Bitcoin as a like store of value, which is great. But I don't want to pay $10 to move Bitcoin around, and I don't want to pay $1 to move $10. So, and also wait 20 minutes. I mean, it's still faster than traditional banking, but yeah, Verge confirms in like, I think you get 30 transactions per second or something like this. I forget, but like we have a block time of 30 seconds. So every new block transactions go off. So less than a minute to send transactions is basically what people need. The advantage of paying in stores when you pay with a credit card is like the credit card gets declined and then it takes 2 days for the store to get the transaction, but at least they know that they're going to get their value. Well, we have a nice video that Jaguar made from his store accepting payments in Verge, and yeah, you can pay right away, and the merchant will know right away. The advantage is, yeah, he gets paid right away. So you don't need to wait 10 minutes to say, hey, my Bitcoin transaction is through, now give me my order. You can actually go to a brick and mortar store, pay with Verge, and like it goes through right away. You'll see it instantly. We have NFC payments now, so people can get tags for their shops to pay directly using the iPhone app to pay with NFC. We've made it so that small shops could accept crypto like they accept cash, because that's what Verge is. And we have the built-in Tor within our wallet, so it acts like if I give you the cash payments, like on my phone, you might say, hey, I've received the transaction. My IP address might be in, I don't know, I'm in Germany, but it will probably be around Frankfurt area. And so that's basically what we do. So it has the same privacy of you going to an ATM to take out cash to go buy something. It's cash is king when it comes to private payments, and that's kind of what we want. We're not an anonymity coin like other projects. We're really a transactional privacy coin, which means that like we want to maintain that like if someone's snooping on the blockchain to see who's buying at your shop, you have that possibility to hide yourself.
So actually talking about anonymity coins, because there are many projects out there like Monero and Zcash and all these guys who like really force this idea of cryptocurrency being private and this is the way it should be and all this stuff, which is great. But why did Verge not go this way, but you chose a kind of a different, kind of more cash-like approach? Is there some reason for that? Or
I think part of the reason was we wanted to be more of a like transactional based currency for everyday use. I know part of the reason we dropped a dark in Dogecoin dark name was also because we didn't want to be associated to the dark web, and we didn't want to be associated to some of the activities going on these platforms. So like I said, we're cash, so we don't care what you do with cash. That's between you and yourself and your own ethical code. But like we wanted to be, I mean, we say it on our website, it's a currency built for everyday use. So that's what we built. And having these optional layers of privacy, you can download the full Qt wallet on our website. So this is the full blockchain wallet, and this allows for stealth transactions. So these are transactions that when you send out, it protects the receiver. So you send out transactions and it just sends it to random addresses on the blockchain. So no one knows who you're sending it to directly. So you have this possibility, but this is only on one wallet. Our light wallets don't have this option. And again, for most people, like, I mean, I take out cash when I want to buy a kebab down the street, just mainly because why would I why would I tell my bank that I eat kebabs 4 times a week? I eat ramen 4 times a week, but I don't want them to know how much ramen I buy either. But,
that's fair enough.
It's just my personal thing. I work for a bank. I can tell you, when you use your credit card and your bank card, it's very easy for someone to to know what you are as a person, like what type
in
of
general,
stuff you
like
consume.
it's the location, it's what you like, it's what you buy. So like it actually tells a lot about a person, what you like buy everywhere.
The value for McDonald's, if they could know that you have a Big Mac every time you go to the gym, like that, like data that you can get from these transactions is huge. That's what Google does. That's what Facebook's do. Like, they want to know what websites you go to after you're done logging in. This is the info. And I don't think transactions should be like this. You should have that privacy.
True that. That's very fair. That's very, at least, logical approach to not giving away your private data and your information, which is, it's not even like so private. This is like a very basic thing, but it tells a lot about the person.
Yeah, and you never think about it. Like, I mean, I don't. I was visiting the UK and I was wondering why there's cameras at every street corner. Like, literally, there's cameras everywhere in London. And it's like, I don't know, for me, it's like, yeah, it's not because I'm a criminal. Like, I mean, I have my webcam on and like, like if my dog shows up, I'll show you my dog. I'm not going to hide it. But like I like to be able to choose who I'm sharing my daily life with and who I like, oh, wait, the camera just fell from behind.
Oh no.
Or my phone really.
Did the Scotch tape fail? Or
well, like I said, I didn't want to tape the screen, right? So there's just a piece of
now it's a
paper
little
over the
bit
screen.
Like,
yeah, I need to angle it a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's
there
great.
we go.
This is what people in crypto really do. This is the level of being engineered.
Well, so my original laptop died a few weeks ago, like at the beginning of February, and I bought a new one, like a Strix from Asus, and it has a really thin bezel, and it's really nice. But like the craze for thin bezel led me to not have a webcam, and I didn't realize this until when you asked me for an interview, and I said sure, and then I'm like, oh man, I don't have a webcam. So I went shopping for them online, and I'm like, I don't feel like spending 20 euros for a webcam. So in the end, I went and found, it's called Iridium. Thank you, Iridium or something like this. Thank you guys for offering a free platform that allows me to use my phone as a webcam.
That works, and that's the most important part. So when coming back to the questions of privacy and the questions of general kind of cryptocurrency usage, you as a person, so what's the most important aspect for you personally in cryptocurrency? So what is the kind of like the thing, not only in Verge, but in the whole
in
general
crypto in
space?
general? For me, I'm a Canadian living in Germany. And when I first moved to Germany in 2017, basically I had to move my money from Canada to Germany to, just be able to live. And this was before Bitcoin hit 20K. Back then, Ethereum was like $200 Canadian, so about 180 US. And I bought one Ether, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Like, I can move my money and pay like $5 in fees. Back then, the fees were not so expensive. Once you it was hard on Coinbase and other platforms to convert money because banks were like, nope, we're not letting you pay for this. So you always had to find these more or less shady means to convert your cash into crypto. But once you moved it into crypto, the fees were super cheap. And instead of waiting a week for a wire transfer to move $10,000 into euros, then I can just do it in the same day and, pay. I think I paid like $12 in total instead of Deutsche Bank charging me 50 euros to do a wire transfer and paying 100 euros to open a bank account. thanks, man. I'm really happy to pay 150 euros to lock $10,000, 10,000 euros in an account for a year. So you can make money off of it. And I have to pay you for this. Like, so yeah, using crypto was an easy way back then to move money. And that's actually how I found Verge. Basically, I was like, Bitcoin. At one point, there's like over 100,000 unconfirmed transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain right after it hit 20,000. I don't know if you remember this,
Yeah,
but
I do. I do. Yeah.
like it cost, oh man, it was costing hundreds of dollars to move any kind of Bitcoin, and nothing was moving for days. I remember one of my friends was moving one full Bitcoin, and he's like, dude, it's been 6 days. I'm like, yeah, pay more fees, it'll bump it up. But he's like, yeah, I don't want to. Because
Yeah,
the
that's
blockchain
crazy,
had so
right?
much unconfirmed transactions, and I was like, oh man. And that was really for me the moment when I was like, maybe altcoins have a thing here. Like back then I was mainly like, yeah, Bitcoin and Ethereum were the main two, and Litecoin was okay, but yeah, Litecoin is Litecoin. So at the time I was like, yeah, like there might be something in the other altcoins, and started looking around and found my way to Verge. One of my friends recommended it actually.
Actually, there is a lot about community when it comes to Verse. So you guys say that there is like really this power in community, and you always react to everything that's going on. As a person working in marketing for like, I don't know, 3+ years in cryptocurrency, you always know that, okay, if you want to do something, do it with Verge, it always goes well.
Yeah,
So like
you have
this
huge
is
impressions on
this is
social
like
media. Yeah.
that's a great thing because you guys are super reactive. So was it like this for you too? So you kind of went in and all this community waves kind of got you in there
When
and
I first got in, I think I joined. I had Telegram for a long time, but I didn't know it was used mainly for crypto. I was just using it to chat with my friends because in Canada we use text messages mostly, and WhatsApp wasn't popular. So I was using Telegram to chat with a few friends. And yeah, when I joined Telegram, I was just kind of lurking in the Verge channels, and then shortly in, I think between Christmas and New Year's, I started participating. I got banned actually for like making fun of someone that I thought was too wound up, and then joined with a like other account, and then rejoined until I got unbanned. And then yeah, after the like there's some fiasco that happened where like people were promising stuff, and like yeah, like I said, I mentioned earlier, we had XVG Weld that was basically like a mouth person for Verge, and I was like, he wasn't doing a great job because he wasn't part of the, like, he's not part of the project. He's a very enthusiastic community member, and it's great that he's an enthusiastic community member. But when people are too enthusiastic, they tend to generate FOMO. And I mean, if you have too much FOMO, people start believing the most whacked out stuff, and then you get hurt. And a lot of people get hurt for following FOMO. So I wanted to have more evidence-based, and that isn't happening. We just deliver what happened. And I think that's mainly what we've been doing for the last few years. We all have this conclusion of, yeah, we share the news after it comes out and not before. So
yeah, this is a very balanced approach. This always works better than an announcement of an announcement, which some
I mean,
projects tend to like.
like buy the rumor, sell the news, right? So if people don't know this, this is your trading advice: buy the rumor, sell the news,
Oh, okay. This is
and
something to
then buy
remember.
back after the crash.
Okay, this is already like next step. This is okay. So, talking about the community again. So, how's it
Yeah,
going now? How is it regulated? What are the rules? Because I can consider myself a part of Verge community just working with it, but
yeah,
I'm definitely
anybody
not.
who wants to work with us is part of the community. Honestly, like there's no rules. So I don't know if you know the difference between decentralized and distributed, but like Verge is distributed along the sense of like anybody can be part of the community for any given time, if you just help. I mean, I remember the first time I met Justin was in Amsterdam, for the Amsterdam Verge meetup. And he once told me, like, look, you have one Verge, you're part of the Verge community. And this is what I tell everybody when they ask me, like, well, I bought Verge, so I'm helping the project. We don't get paid for you buying Verge. So if you're buying Verge and you're holding on to it, like, great, this is fantastic. Maybe one day you'll be rich and you can buy whatever your dream wants you to buy. At the end of the day, if you're buying into Verge, it's like you're buying the euro or the US dollar. It doesn't mean you believe in whoever's president or you don't believe in the euro. I don't care. You're just holding on a currency. So if you really want to help Verge, show people how to use it, get your friends to download the wallet. I went for a beer with Sven in the Netherlands back in the day when this was possible. And he paid for the beer because I didn't have any cash on me. And I blocked my PIN number because, yeah, whatever, beer drinking. So I paid him back in Verge later on that day, like this is how you get people to use a currency. People like to say, yeah, I remember the pizza dude with Bitcoin. And I'm like, yeah, well, like Bitcoin wouldn't be where it was today if people actually didn't use it. I told you before we started recording the interview that like I spent a bunch of Bitcoins on buying food and beer in the Czech Republic when I was living there. And like I have a bit of regrets, but at the same time, it's fine because companies and people wouldn't accept Bitcoin if there was no one using it, and if everybody was just holding on to it. Like money has to have some sort of value and use. So now we're moving towards Bitcoin as a store of value. It's fine. Use Bitcoin to keep your value and spend Verge. Convert your Bitcoin to Verge when you want to make a transaction. It's faster, it's more private, and our wallets are nicer.
Are there many people using Verge as a kind of transactional tool right now? So like really on a very basic daily basis, kind of.
I mean, there's volume. So I guess there's more than just trading volume. I personally have used Verge to buy stuff in the past. I bought a 3DS Game Boy, Nintendo 3DS from some German community member 2 years ago. Now my ex has it, but yeah, I paid for stuff. I've bought stickers. I've ordered a bunch of random stuff on the internet because yeah, why not? There's an air shop not far from here that sells like BB guns, like airsoft guns using Verge and other cryptos. And I always wanted to buy a P90 version, but like I don't really need one. So yeah.
Do you think we need more promotion of cryptocurrency as a payment method in general, and like for the merchants not to be afraid of it? Because
yes,
they're still not.
We definitely do. We definitely do. A lot of the vendors who accept crypto are mainly the online ones, and the like brick and mortar shops don't have this. The problem is also the laws change in every country. So even if you're in the EU, like in Germany, you can spend crypto to buy something and not pay VAT. So there's that advantage, but the laws are also changing constantly. So for larger stores, it's a bit harder. For smaller client service, like if I had a very small specialized shop, then it's somewhat easier to say I'm accepting crypto than the larger stores who want to have a like stable platform. But yeah, I generally think that if people started pushing, saying like if stores were saying, hey, yeah, we want to accept crypto, like Verge is a non-country, non-entity controlled currency. Anybody can go to GitHub and say, hey, I want to see these changes, and then make noise in the community until we say, okay, yeah, we want to accept this. Like this is the advantage of it. It's not centrally controlled. It's not centrally planned. It's a currency that's out there. So yeah, I do think merchants need to push it on their end too, but the community needs to talk to merchants and say, hey, yeah, I'll spend my Verge to buy flowers from you or buy food or yeah.
Yeah, because I have been like talking to many people who do small businesses, and some of them, I wouldn't say like all of them, but some of them are interested in accepting cryptocurrency, but also they're afraid at some point,
Yeah.
and they're hesitant, and they're kind of like, especially if those are people not really acquainted to cryptocurrency as such. So this is like the second day they've heard about Bitcoin, and now there are people who are like, why don't you accept it? And of course, they're kind of questioning the
Hesitant. Yeah.
decisions.
Yeah. I mean, thing is too, being your own like banker, because that's essentially what you are when you start using crypto, also has its downsides that like people aren't aware of, I guess, in the sense that like not your keys, not your coins. So if you leave your keys on an exchange, you are dependent on the exchange to say, okay, cool, here, we're sending it to you. Like, so I mean, I remember one of my friends wanted to send me, I think 500 XVG, like a tiny amount. At the time, it wasn't even worth like a cent. And he's saying, yeah, I'm sending you 500 XVG. It took an hour from the exchange to authorize this withdrawal. And he's like, how come it took so long? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just a block time of 30 seconds. So you're just waiting on the exchange to like check the transaction to see that everything is legit. And like, yeah, bigger exchanges have faster means of withdrawal. But when Verge got attacked like last month, people had trouble with like different third-party wallets that will remain nameless. And I'm like, well, if you have your keys, you can then download our own wallet and you can put your keys in, and then you'll have access to your keys again. Because what people don't realize is that like the software you're using to interact with the blockchain is you're using your keys, gives you access to those coins within the blockchain. But if you don't have this thing, if you use a light wallet from a third party, then you need to wait on the third party to fix their own backend stuff to allow you to exchange. So it goes back to having a bank. Like if you leave anything in an exchange, it's like I'm leaving stuff with Deutsche Bank and I'm saying, yeah, I trust Deutsche Bank not to invest badly, but I remember 2008, so I know Deutsche Bank doesn't necessarily invest responsibly. So like
Yes,
at the
but
end
it
of the
also
day, not
requires
your keys, not your
people.
coins.
Yeah, it always requires people to be more cautious and kind of do their own research before jumping in, because there's still so many people. Like, it's 2021 right now. I'm the person who still says 2020 at all times. I don't know
I said
why.
2020 part two.
I hope not, okay? I really hope it's not. But it's like it's so much time has passed from the day when people started to actually know what cryptocurrency is in more mass terms. But so many people still keep their money on exchanges and like
Yeah.
trust it 100%. Like, okay, if you trade, then fine, but just keeping all your assets on an exchange, this is why I work in a non-custodial exchange, because we don't, at least we don't hold the funds, because like,
Yeah.
okay guys, this is like, you're responsible.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember I really enjoyed the like weekend markets in the Netherlands and Germany. So I usually go there, and I was walking with this shirt, and some dude's like, "Oh, Verge, oh, I have some in one of my portfolios," and I was like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Well, I'm glad that you have currency in your portfolio. Like, some people trade Forex, and Verge, you can trade it if you want, but it's like, yeah, I just leave it on an exchange and one day it'll get to $1 and then I'll sell." And I'm like, well, it's fine, but we're not a company and like it's a currency. So if you leave it on an exchange and it goes to $1, like then you have to wait till the exchange has enough Bitcoin to cash you out or to convert you, and you're still dependent on that exchange. Whereas if you keep your Verge on your own wallet, then you can straight up just cash out what you need when you need it. Like that's what I really enjoyed from living in the Czech Republic. Before, was Bitcoin ATMs are really easy to find. So it's like, oh, I need some cash. And like if Bitcoin goes up overnight, my Bitcoin goes up, then I have more cash tomorrow. And at that time in my life, that just meant more beer. But
Oh, does Verge have enough facilitation for the use generally? So like convenient wallets, like Bitcoin ATM supporting Verge, merchants
so
accepting
not
it, so
enough
like all of this.
not enough fiat ramps. That's one of the things we want the most, is more ways for people to convert Verge to fiat. That's really what we need as a project. We also need more. I would be great if we had Verge ATMs. I would absolutely love it. But yeah, that's would be the main thing. unfortunately, we don't have these. So we do have some projects that allow us to buy to convert fiat into Verge, but you have to go through Bitcoin or so. Yeah, it's not perfect. We're not coin, but we're hoping to get there one day. I know there's Elastum that allows us to buy Verge directly from Euro. And there's other projects now I can't remember, but there's Bitcoin Meister in Germany. There's Bitladen in the Netherlands, I believe. There's a few smaller like tier 3 exchanges that have these. So it's getting there, but yeah, we're nowhere near the Bitcoin status of cashing out. So
when
yeah.
it comes to, like, we have lots of questions on Twitter, and one of them fits it really well, like this whole thing that you're describing about what Verge needs. So what are the main kind of plans for Verge right now? So where are you guys not only heading, because there are so many of you and you're all doing different things, but also like what is the most important kind of thing that you want to achieve as a project and as a community?
Well, I'm actually really proud of where we are right now. Like, I feel like the community matured a lot. Like in the last, I'd say since December, we've been doing a lot more proactive outreach since a bit before the latest partnership with Voice Life, because we needed more people to participate with when it comes to graphics or when it comes to user outreach. Like Mihail and I are swamped with like people just asking for basic help, how to do this, how to reach the company and whatnot. And more people are stepping up now and they're like, hey, I'm going to make graphics, or I'm going to make music, or I'm going to make videos for you guys. So since December, we've had a lot of people just sporadically in the community pipe up and be like, yeah, I want to help. And that's really what I've been trying to do in the last, like, since I joined, now it feels like, yeah, 4 years. It was mainly to get people to be aware, because yeah, it's great to have a community that reshares on Twitter, that reshares on Facebook. Like, impressions are really cool. It's what allows Verge to, like, you know, go to places that other projects don't have, is mainly because we have that community behind us. But it would be awesome if like 1/10 of that community focused themselves on, hey, how can we run? And the attack actually on the blockchain came to that conclusion. The community got together and said, hey man, something's weird. And like, people, the moment the attack started, people on Telegram and Discord were already like ringing bells. Like CC and Maxius were already like, hey man, there's something fishy going on with the block explorer. And then the next day people were like, yeah, I stopped mining because it feels like the chain's wrong. And yeah, somebody was trying to insert a malicious chain, trying to do a reorg, and the community got together and protected the chain. Like, yeah, the utopia of blockchain is that we don't need to have any person, you know, observing the chain, and it's completely trustless and it's coldly efficient. And if you screw up, you screw up. But like, yeah, the community got behind it and said, hey, no, we're fixing our chain, we're protecting it. So we actually undid this, the reorg was undone, and there was no malicious chain inserted because people got together. And I'm really happy to see this kind of communication, where now we see people from the Facebook groups joining the Discord channels and whatnot, because they want to share the information. And it's no longer just people staying at home saying, yeah, I'm in the Facebook group, I get to know this. No, it's the community is getting together. And that's why we say it's a Verge fam. Like, that's our tweet. It's the hashtag we use, because it really feels like a family. Like, we have disagreements. Not everybody has the same political alignment. Not everybody believes in the same things, but we all believe that people should have access to basic privacy when transacting. And we believe that people should have a borderless currency that exists openly out there. So yeah, right now, if we're headed towards the future, like what you were asking, was to shape that community so that people are aware of this and they start volunteering their time. Not everybody can be a marketing expert. Not everybody's a developer. Not everybody is, I don't know what, my camera's falling again. not everybody has specific skills that they can use to help Verge directly, but they can indirectly use their skills. Like, hey, you own a shop, accept crypto, accept Bitcoin, accept Verge, and teach people how this works. That's it. That's all you need. We were talking earlier, and like you know different languages than I do. So if you want to, I don't want to dox you, so I won't say. But you can say, okay, yeah, I'll translate the Verge paper into my own language. We have Poe editors set up. Marvin, one of the other developers that helps out on the project, set up a Poe editor, and we have, I don't know, over 40 languages translated now because people from the community got together and translated. I sent a bunch of stickers out to people who messaged me, hey, I translated on Twitter, so I translated on Poe Editor. I sent them a sticker with Verge on it. It's not much, but like, yeah, I got a bunch of stickers with Verge, so I don't have much money. I'm a student, but here's a sticker. I can send this to you. Like, it's more of a feel
It's a
good thing,
lot about this kind of, it's not financial. So this is kind of like a community gathering. This is something, if you're studying in a European university, so you should know about this like whole clubs and like gatherings and student unions that
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's working like this in your university, but it used to work like this in mine. So there was a lot of
Yeah,
action.
no, it exists here too.
Like I kind of miss it. It was great, to be honest.
That's what's fun about Verge. And like you can be in your own project, like, you can have your own project, work for your own company and support Verge on the side and be like, hey, my company is doing this. We're going to accept Verge as a payment and we're going to advertise our projects, but we're going to also advertise Verge. And that's totally fair. Like the company, like you don't need to be personally involved. You don't need to hold 1,000,000 Verge and be like, yeah, I'm a holder. That's why I'm in the community. I'd rather you not hold anything, but you say, hey, yeah, I'm teaching people how to use crypto and I buy and sell when it suits me, than to just be like, yeah, I'm holding 1,000,000 Verge, but I'm not showing anybody. I'm not sharing anything. I'm not being part of the project. I mean, yeah, sure, I have $1,000,000 lying around in my basement. It's not doing anything. It's not even in a bank. It's just losing value. Like, there's no value
Yeah,
in this.
there's no kind of point in it, but people are still interested in the financial aspect, obviously, because
Of course, I mean, it's money, so
there are many people on Twitter too who asked about Verge being listed on many exchanges. So there was Coinbase, Asset Hub, I believe. I cannot find this tweet right now, but there was definitely a question about this. There was Binance.
We've applied a bunch of times on Coinbase. I don't mind saying this. I have no idea what they're doing. Again, Verge doesn't pay for any listings, so we basically we leverage the ability that we have with our community. Since we have a large community, we always, remind the exchanges, yeah, if you list us, our community will see us. We have a large community, so you get large visibility. So that's very helpful for projects, but yeah, some projects sometimes require like donations, and yeah, Verge will not do these things because we're an open source project. Like if you came to me and said, yeah, I need a listing and it costs you 20K, I have to fork out that money. Like, this is my money I'm giving you. Like, we don't have a like central pool. We do have a
like
donation address, and it's mainly used to pay for the servers. So, earlier we were talking about light wallets. Like, we have the iOS wallet and the MyVerges wallet that was just released by Sven. These are light wallets, which means that there's a server hosting the node for that wallet to be used. So yeah, you have your keys, but you're not hosting the blockchain. So we have to have these servers open, and people need to pay for this. So we have, like, there is some financial cost to running a blockchain, and we don't ask for people to pay, but yeah, we do have a donation so people can help, but we don't pay for these extra services because, again, like, I get messages every day on Telegram. I'm sure you get these too. I'm going to talk about your project on YouTube for like 15K, and we have 1,000,000 people following our YouTube. For some reason, they never have comments. They just have likes. So it's always a little suspicious. And I'm like, yeah, well, we have 300K Twitter followers with like, a tweet from me, which I have less than 5K followers, will get 200K impressions because of the community. So
yeah, it just goes everywhere, obviously. Yeah.
So if I as a marketing person, the impressions are really important. So for projects, like, it's like, yeah, you want our help, we won't charge you, you don't charge us, we help each other, and now you're part of the community. So
where are you thinking about probably establishing some kind of a fund that will help people who want to work financially kind of
Yeah,
reward?
so this is my personal idea. I don't have the funds to do this, but I was hoping to create like either a company, or I'm actually looking at Estonia right now to create a project where we basically show like we get paid to consult, to store your value in Bitcoin and then transfer it to Verge when you want to make a transaction. So hodl Bitcoin and spend Verge, because that's what we are as a currency. And I was hoping maybe to find a way to use atomic swaps to just like frictionlessly transfer from Bitcoin to Verge. It doesn't exist right now in our wallets, and we need more developers. But yeah, I was looking at, and again, this is entirely my idea. I'm working on this. I'm basing it on Red Hat. I don't know if you know this company. Red Hat uses Linux as a like,
Yeah, I don't think I've heard about it.
like as a platform for PCs and for stores, but they basically get paid to make custom versions of Linux for companies, and
Oh, all
then
right.
they release their code openly for Linux users to use. So like I said, Verge is a community project and Verge is decentralized. So we don't want to have a company structure. We don't want to have this kind of income and outflow that's associated to having like any kind of legal structure. So it would have to be a third party that would
So
do it.
could it be,
So
for example, I was thinking about the probably structures like Zcash and Electric Coin Company, for example. So
yeah,
you
like
kind
a
of get,
foundation.
yeah, you get hired. So the company gets hired to help in developing, and
Yeah.
they get paid for that. So it's kind of like everybody knows there are like ties everywhere, and obviously it's like the same
Yeah.
thing, but also it's kind of still a different entity. So
Yeah, it would be something like this. Yeah, I don't know. I think mainly we don't have enough people working on these things. So it kind of gets, again, we're all volunteers. So it kind of gets pushed as a, yeah, I started working on this. And then, I mean, I started working on this, like this foundation thing on my old laptop, and I lost most of my data from December all the way onwards. So I was working on different personal projects that I wanted to see. And yeah, I'm really sad because lost some data, but always do backups and back up your backup.
this is a
But
good
my
advice.
backup
Yeah.
drive failed. I had a like actual like spinning hard drive, and that one failed. And then I broke the BIOS trying to flash it to put a new SSD inside. I had to flash my BIOS for an NVM2 SSD, and yeah, that killed the laptop. And then yeah, whatever. Rest in peace, old laptop. It's 4 years old. It did its job. But yeah, so it would be great to have a foundation that works like this, that has a separate arm where, like, research and development, but we also need to have that expertise beforehand to build this. And part of what Verge differs from these other projects is also that we kind of remained with this like small startup attitude that like Bitcoin kind of has, where it's like just people showing up. And that's kind of what we also want. We just want it to exist, and people just come in and do the changes and discuss it. And that's what we want to have. And when you start moving into that foundation thing, I mean, some projects have built-in funding mechanisms in the mining rewards, and we didn't want to have this. So at some point we need to discuss this because we're reaching the end of the supply. So it is something we need to discuss with the currency as to how we're going to evolve and how we're moving past the end of the mining like structure. But yeah, there's a lot of things that we need to come up with, and having a separate arm that's like, with paid salaries and whatnot that works for companies is an idea I've actually talked to people since 2018 about, but I had no I wasn't specialized in it really. And after 3 years in university now, I'm kind of like, yeah, I feel ready to tackle this. I just need time. And I'm also in a COVID is a weird situation when it comes to jobs when you're self-employed. So some of my time goes to trying to find revenue, and like, yeah.
Did it become harder in times of COVID just to kind of take care of a crypto related project? So Verge does not have a foundation as such, so it's totally distributed and it's volunteers and just people.
Yeah.
So did you notice this effect of
I
coronavirus,
actually
of the
think
lockdowns? And
some of our community, like the core group, were less active because they had their own stuff to deal with. But mainly, I think part of the reason we have such cool content being produced now is because people had more time, because they were stuck at home or there were lockdowns and they had more time to donate to the project. So I think part of it was this. There's definitely like, yeah, I think there's also a lot more stress from the actual core team over like some like people's jobs might be lost. So I know a lot of people had personal, like, yeah, they know people who passed away and whatnot, so it was hard. And I mean, I've also lost family and had family that was like nearing death and whatnot, and I'm 6,000 kilometers away from my family. So like there's these stresses that tend to go with the 2020 years. I'm hoping that like we get some sort of roaring 20s, like in 1920, maybe like we can get some crypto roaring 20s. I mean, it's looking like it right now.
yeah, true
So
that.
let's hope we have this, but none of the crash that came with it. But what goes up comes down. So
If you're already told about the roaring 20s, I'm going to be like slowly wrapping up the interview because we're running out of time. But what are your predictions of where the crypto market is going? Like, what do you think will happen? Because the roaring crypto 20s sound really great. And it really seems like this right now, but where do you think it will all go further? Will this hype end? Will it be kind of more mature? What should we
I
wait for?
think the hype will end at one point, and then we're probably going to see something like 2018, 2019 again in terms of value. It always happens like this. I think something that was severely underplayed in the original Bitcoin like to 20K thing was how Korea was investing. Like people were literally borrowing money to invest in Bitcoin. And I think like people severely underestimated that that rush of influx of cash. And so people who are buying Bitcoin right now are buying really high, hoping it reaches 100K. I'm pretty sure we'll reach 100, probably even 200K this year. But like after that, it's gonna fall back down, and then maybe Bitcoin will survive as a like new like digital gold, and I hope so. But then for other projects, like once Bitcoin falls, usually other projects tend to fall as well. Like most people who have been here since, I mean, I've been involved since 2017, but I've been watching Bitcoin since 2012, 2013. Since this, like most people invest in in altcoins basically to make more Bitcoin, and then they just stop investing in other coins when Bitcoin's rising. So I don't know. It'll have to be seen. I think in terms of the future, a lot of it I think will be in DeFi projects as well. Like they're basically mimicking banking structures, but like decentralized banking structures that don't depend on people. So maybe that'll work. I'm still skeptic, but yeah. I mean, at this point, man, it was easier in 2017. There wasn't so much projects. Now there's over 2,000 different projects, and it's kind of hard to follow right now. All the
Not
crazes
all
in
of them will
NFTs.
survive. So this always happens like this when there are these hype waves. Like half of the projects are dead afterwards. But
Yeah, and yeah, I mean that's what's great with Verge. Since we're not a project, we're not paid. Like we just believe in it. I mean, like part of my thing with Verge is just being able to talk to these people. Like I see the people every day that come in and say, "Hey, oh man, how's it going?" Like it's like a family. We talk about food, we talk about pets, we talk about other stuff, and it's a family. So that bond that we create as a community doesn't matter the price. I mean, before the call, I straight up went on like CoinGecko to check the value of Verge because I don't check the price. It doesn't bother me. One Verge will always be one Verge.
This is a good
So,
attitude. There's talking about community. There is one more questions that I have to ask you because I believe that it's very important and it's from Too Lazy to Debug.
oh,
So do
about
you
my ramen
prefer
preference.
have ramen with shrimps or with beef? This is very
So I
important.
prefer shrimp ramen. Actually, my favorite lately has been kimchi. I really like kimchi ramen lately, but yeah, traditionally shrimp is preferred. But I like the color. I have a ramen hoodie and it's like red and it just says beef. And it's nice because I can tell people if they have beef, like you got beef. I'm wearing a beef ramen. So I have the pants that match with it too. And I have a beef ramen thing. I'm gonna make a LED like bling with it. I just need to cover it in epoxy and then carve it out so I can put the LED. So I have a glow in the dark ramen bling thing. I'm gonna try to
Whoa.
make it into a Verge logo, but it's really hard.
Yeah, you're a ramen fan. This is
I love
definitely.
ramen. I really do. I think it's one of the best. I don't. It's like a soup, but like it's more than a soup. It's like halfway between a stew and a soup. There's so much going on. Like I'm not talking about instant ramen. Like a real ramen. You have the fish, you have the egg, you have the seaweed, you have the sesame. The broth is full of flavor. I just think it's one of the best soup dish out there. I'm a big dumpling fan too. I'm a big fan of food, but I think ramen is like the king of soups.
You're so passionate about this. I love it. You're passionate about Verge and ramen and food in general. This is great.
Yeah, Verge food and startups. I really like startups. And if you want to tie it into community, if you invest in Verge, you're investing in a startup. So be an angel investor and start using your own resources to help the project. That's what I tell everybody. Because I mean, even if you're a grocer in a store and that's your job, you still have friends, you still play poker. Play poker using Verge instead of using coins. Like instead of cashing in and paying 20 euros, say, okay, we're gonna pay 10 XVG or 100 XVG or whatever. That's your cash in.
That's a good thing. Like we should spread the word, and I hope everybody who watches this interview afterwards will kind of stop being afraid if they are and start trying new things if they haven't already, and just know more and kind of spread the word and tell their friends. And if you want to, we'll also include all the possible links where they can find all the information needed about Verge, because we'll definitely have a description
And
under
send
this
you, I
video.
made a really easy Prezi. If you want, I'll send it to you. It has all the links to like everything from like where you can exchange it for fiat to like where you can find us with the official channels,
Yeah,
Facebook,
awesome.
Twitter,
Yeah, we'll
Instagram.
include it. That will be great. So I'm
I'll send
already
it to you.
promising, like everybody watching this video, I'm sorry, I'm promising to include something in the video you're already watching. Hope it gets edited out.
I'll
Okay.
share it on Twitter again too.
So on this positive note of everybody stopping being afraid, we're wrapping up this interview. I'm thanking Alex for joining us today. It was great chatting with you about everything, about food, Verge, and a little bit about Lithuania and other things that we've talked about before the interview.
I
And
want that pink soup recipe.
I'm gonna send it to you. I'm probably even gonna make a video kind of tutorial of how to make it. It's super
Sick.
easy. Just believe me, it's super easy. And thank you very much. And we'll be live with it soon.
All right. Well, thanks, Maria. And thank you, everyone, for watching. I'm sorry I talk a lot, like usual.
This is a good thing when you're in an interview. So, like, please don't be sorry. And thanks, everybody, for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our other channels. There's a lot of info about Verge, about StealthEX, about all the other projects that can be interesting. And we'll include all the possible links that can be useful for you under the video in the description. Thank you very much.